speaking of TUF, Joe Rogan came out with a wee bit of information, which he doesn't normally do. He doesn't normally come out with new information and let stuff go. But it's a wee exclusive. It's the newest TUF coaches.
Right.
They're obviously starting the Ultimate Fighter back up again, and the new coaches are going to be Israel Adesanya and Paulo Costa.
I mean, doesn't get much better than that, does it?
It really, really doesn't. I mean,
And then obviously they're going to fight after it.
They obviously fight after it. Now that is quite something. That fight in general is going to be amazing.
So that's his next fight going to be then. I'm assuming TUF's going to start quite soon.
TUF will probably start quite soon, because I'm assuming the pandemic's not going to stop them.
No.
Because obviously they've got that place. I don't actually know where I found that actually. I don't know where it is. That's it there. So Israel Adesanya and Paulo Costa set to be TUF coaches, reveals Joe Rogan. Now Joe Rogan is in the know. Now he knows a lot of stuff, but he doesn't let a lot of stuff go. He doesn't tell people.
Everyone's always trying to get information out of him because they know how closely he is to the UFC. But
on his podcast, he was just kind of talking about how the Ultimate Fighter kind of turned the UFC around really, because they were like 40 million in debt at that point, and the Fertitas were actually asking Dana White. They were saying the Fertitas that used to own the UFC before they sold it. They were asking Dana White, look, find a buyer for this because we're literally 40 million in a hole and there's not much we can do with this, you know. And then obviously they came out with the Ultimate Fighter. They came up with this idea. It's a bit of a reality show, but it's obviously with fighters. They live in these big mansions. And obviously they come together, and then the winner obviously gets a contract with the UFC, and that
a pretty genius show, really, isn't it?
It really was. I think especially back then, like they must have just switched on that reality was kind of the way forward. And I think they paid for it. They produced it. They done everything. I remember they were looking for sponsors to stick on the octagon, or they were looking for sponsors to actually help pay for the production of TUF. Like they were just going to obviously put the adverts before and after the show and have it in the octagon and stuff, and they couldn't get anyone. That's insane, man. It just goes to show like how far back this was. No one was like supporting cage fighting. It was just for everyone. It was cage fighting. So what they decided to do is let's just put UFC all over it.
Really?
Do you know what I mean? Let's just put the UFC all over it. They had it on the canvas. They had, I can't remember what fight it was, but they had a fight coming up, and they were just advertising that at every commercial break, and that kind of drove the traffic. You know,
that's clearly what.
I think they've come away from TUF for a wee bit recently.
Because I've seen they've got every single series on Fight Pass.
Do they?
And I've been watching the Uriah Faber-McGregor one.
That was a good one. That was really good. That was really good. Who won that? Was that Ryan? Was that? Who won theirs?
Was it the me guy that does like the ankle locks?
Yeah, was it Ryan Hall? Was his name Ryan Hall?
I'm not sure.
I feel it was like Ryan Hall or something like that.
Let me see.
I just couldn't remember if that was on their one. He just kind of kept getting everyone into ankle hooks.
Ryan Hall.
Ryan Hall. That's he was.
Hall wins makeshift TUF title.
He was his last fight PJ Penn.
I have no idea.
Do you remember he was fighting? And he
he's pretty small.
That's the way he finished it.
Forward roll.
Yeah, he does.
He is.
Some boy. I've not seen him too much in the UFC. I've not really seen too much of him. No. He's kind of like he kind of looks like this kind of like specialist. He takes you a bit by surprise. He doesn't look like an actual UFC fighter.
He's not very well rounded, but
I think this will be amazing. Israel Adesanya and Paulo Costa.
I'm definitely watching that.
Joe, I just feels if
they're both in their prime right now as well.
They are. The thing with Israel Adesanya, I think he's got away with words though, and I feel as if he could probably rile up Paulo Costa throughout those weeks.
His English isn't the best, is it, Costa's?
I don't think he is, and Israel Adesanya is quite good with words, quite witty, and I feel as if he could really get under his skin through this process. But
there's no doubt about that. He's going to wind them up.
That fight in general will be amazing.
Unreal. Who do you think takes that fight?
It's hard. I think Adesanya will do it. You know, to see his confidence.
I think so. I think if I hadn't seen him fighting against
Romero,
I'd probably say Costa's going to win. He's just too big, too explosive, too powerful. But even
like the thing with Romero though, I expected to see more. I I was really, really looking forward to the Romero Adesanya fight because I was excited to see what Adesanya can do with a real power puncher like that. But I feel as if Romero didn't show up. It wasn't a normal Romero. That was confident to come forward. He was just literally like, it was actually a really, really bizarre looking fight.
They always cancelled each other out, didn't they?
Yeah, so like that's how I'm not ridiculously confident that Adesanya will win, because like, see if I'd seen Adesanya dominate Romero or like, you know, like take one of his big punches and then be able to like land his own and almost put Romero down and stuff, I'd be like, yeah, well, Paulo Costa is almost just a carbon copy, you know, and he's going to be able to do the exact same. I don't think Costa is going to be as reserved as Romero was. I think he is.
He just comes forward.
He's going to come forward. Man. He's willing to take a punch to land a couple, and then
he's proven he's got a good chin.
Yeah, and the couple he lands is devastating. And it can be devastating. So it's going to be a really, really close fight. But I feel as if Adesanya will probably, just with his foot movement, his length, just his striking in general. I
don't think he'll finish Costa. I think it will go the distance.
I think it could be an amazing fight. I think, see if both of them show up and they both want it. Like, I feel as if a lot of the times, like, see people like Romero, this was his third time he was getting an opportunity at the title.
Yep.
Robert Whittaker twice, and then Adesanya, wasn't it? Like, so Adesanya, this was his third title. Why do sometimes like fighters not show up? This is their opportunity to get what they wanted. Like, who cares if you get knocked out at that point? Go forward. You need to implement your game plan. He was
especially when it gets to the end of the fight, you're like, I've clearly lost. I've got to go for the finish.
And he still wasn't. I know he's an explosive fighter. He'll always sit back for a wee bit, then explode. But I feel as if he wasn't even exploding during that fight. You know, so I'm really I don't think Paulo Costa will make that same mistake. I feel as if,
so I think he'll learn from watching those fights as well.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think in all his fights he just moves forward. So that is going to be like,
it's going to be a mad fight.
You know something? See, by the end of this year, there's going to be so many potential fight of the year. Like, what a year for it! 2020.
Years lined up, man.
No one would have guessed it. No. Obviously, with this,
it's been a shit year in terms of like everything apart from fighting.
Exactly. Everything apart from, like, honestly, the UFC. It's been
pretty dire.
Pretty mental. But no, like, I think it's good to get TUF back. I think it'll be a good reality show, good to watch. There's been some amazing people come out of it. Just think Tony Ferguson, he's obviously come out of it. And then even most recently, you've got Sean O'Malley, which is potentially going to be the next biggest star.
That